So this particular day, she said, I just had enough. And so he asked her to get up. She wouldn't get up. He called the police. Police come, arrest her. And that was the beginning of King's journey. They thought, well, this will be a couple of days and everything will be over. But in that time, Miss Parks had a little thing where her and a few more ladies were working on, and there was some more guys had a little thing where they was working on, and they talked 2 or 3 times about it, and the men, there was about 16 or 17 men, they was at a meeting and trying to wonder who could they get to handle this. And one of them said, how about Reverend King? And they were looking for somebody to object and all that, but they didn't, and so they asked him and everything, and he said, well, okay. He had only been in the neighborhood about a year then. And so from that, they figured out to start the 381 day walking to work and getting to work any way they could, but riding the bus. And that was the beginning of the bus boycott, because three-fourths of the people who was riding on the bus were black, So in about 3 months or 3.5 months, they figured, well, wait a minute. The bus company figured we're going broke here, and so they tried to mend things, but we're talking about the 1950s in Alabama, and you maybe had 1 or 2 people who were willing to do things, but you had all the rest of these hard-nosed people who, no. So the thing just went on and on. They'd call meetings and nothing would get done. Call meetings, some would be for this, but most would be against it. And this went on. And so the people, the blacks, figured that, I'd walk to work, we'll get cars, we'll just get people to work. And they started that, and then the policemen and others there in town said, well, we got to stop that. So they started at the people that, no, you can't park here, because he'd park and wait on people. No, you can't park here. So they tried to stop that, and then they'd stop the car sometime and say, well, you got more people in here than can ride in this car, and all these type of things. But anyway, 381 days, and finally things changed some, but it was one of the things that in Alabama, Mississippi, all over the South, and I say it all the time, if you was able to live in the South and get out without doing something to somebody, or somebody doing something to you, hey, you was lucky if you was black. Simple as that, because it was people who simply disagreed with you being a person. They just didn't believe you was a person, You were 3/4, You had everything they had, you know, for his being, for his, you know, but you know, you're not a person. And that's the way it was down there, you know. But from then on, then King, he began to see other things that was wrong. He began to work on other cities, cities in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, places like that, where the same thing was going on day in, day out, you know. And as he was working on things, he could, he visioned other things, you know. He began to work on getting people, giving people a chance to vote. That was the most important thing, because in 1950, 55, 56, across the South, there were 1.2 million blacks who voted. Now this is across the South. You could go stand in line all day and couldn't vote. You could go, you stand in line all day, and if you had a line there, if you got too close to this line, they had a cop there with a stick about that big he would beat you with, you know. But this was down there. So, you know, but so King, his idea were to get people to vote. So finally, working on that, working on other things, the 1963 Washington March was one of the biggest things. I remember that so well. I was working at a place. I was gonna go. I said, "Oh, I'm going," but somehow I didn't get a chance to go. In 1993, I went back to the reunion of the 63 March. But all of these things that King was working on, and a lot of people, NAACP, I hate to say it, but NAACP,
Southern Christian Leadership Council?
CORE, you know, Adam Clayton Powell, all these people. It really bothers me that they gave him such a hard time, you know. I mean, he would pull in one way and they would pull in another way, you know. Things that he was trying to get done, because NAACP, if it had been NAACP and the people around NAACP and other little groups, people in the South, they probably would have had a chance to vote in 2000, you know, because NAACP, and you know, I was a person who read and all these things, but I had never heard of it back then. You know, that was how, you know, no, we can't do this, we can't do that, you know, and that's the same thing they was doing when King was trying to get things, you know, some kind of way balanced and everything. After King won the Nobel Peace Prize, after the Washington 1963 March, I'm going to read Dr. King. He said this at a movement, Christian movement 10th anniversary dinner. Some of the words reflect greater bitterness than ever before. White America never did intend to integrate housing, integrate schools, or be fair with Negroes about jobs. He said this at the 10th anniversary of a meeting. It appears that he himself, with all of this pulling, pushing, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, I would assume it would work on me, you know, if I were trying to do this and all these groups, they say, no, you can't do this. And as his group, Southern Christian Leadership Group, he put it together, and as it grew, all these other little different groups come about, you know, and they were raising money, but they would raise money, and then this group would be crying about they didn't get their share. This group over here, they didn't get their share, and this group, and that's the way it was. And he would have the burden of trying to pacify this group, and so I can see, and then the other thing is, at this time, after him winning the Nobel Peace Prize and all this, he was being, you know, threatened every day. So it was just a type of thing where you threaten every day. These people are not satisfied. These are not satisfied, and it's just a thing where, you know. But that's the way it was. And he had a chance to meet Kennedy before Kennedy was the president, and he didn't think too much of Kennedy because he said Kennedy was trying to lay away from the blacks because it would hurt his voting status and everything in the South. So he was trying to, you know, no, okay, y'all okay, but no. But then after Kennedy was elected in '60, well, before he was elected, King finally come to the conclusion that, yeah, we better vote for Kennedy. And he started pushing for Kennedy. And Kennedy was elected in '60. But he got along better with Kennedy's brother than he did John Kennedy. But from then on, he was able to go talk to him about different things, and, you know, Civil Rights Bill and all of that. But at the same time, back in Birmingham and all of Alabama, Mississippi, and all these places, this didn't mean anything, really. It meant that now we can vote, you know, which was one of the biggest things that could ever happen to black people, you know. Even though we see our people now hesitant about voting, but I would say to the ones who don't vote, you need to be able to read or something, to see something, to tell you, to demonstrate to you, and all these different things about not being able to vote. To me, the greatest thing ever happened to blacks in this country is being able to vote.